We're going to talk about interpreting Bible passages this morning. And Zora came up to listen too. But one of the things we have to understand in interpreting what the Bible is teaching us is that everything from Genesis chapter 3 until the end of the Bible, with a few exceptions, is talking about dealing in this corrupt world. It's not talking about God's heavenly will. Now, Jesus teaches us, well, let's put it this way. His original purpose in coming to earth was to straighten out the Hebrew religion for the Jews, that they would understand what God's intent is above that which the priests had added. They had added a whole bunch of laws and things that were unnecessary to living in the heavenly will of God. And he was trying to explain that you don't work your way into heaven, that you get there by grace. And he was showing you how. And that was what the messages are. So if we follow what Jesus teaches us, we get this sort of like a tabletop. And that's the guideline. And then when we read the Hebrew text, we just pass that across and we can see, oh, this is above it or below it. So we can tell when things are in God's heavenly will. And that helps us to understand. And then we get to, various things that Jesus talks about that helps us to understand the implication of things that are said. Like, for an example, that when we have the original commandment, which was to eat only plant foods, and then we get to what happens after the flood. And we have to remember that when Noah sacrificed, after God accepted it, he said, man is evil from his youth, because he went back over what was said. And God was trying to get this to not do what they were doing to animals, but to bring us back to a vegetarian world. And when they didn't do that, and they killed the animals, that messed up what God was trying to do. So when he gives the concession to eat meat, he also says he's never going to flood the earth again, because that's not going to solve the problem. He's going to let human beings suffer in their own evil. And if you think about it, it was only a concession to eat meat, and that concession was given with a curse, because you couldn't eat fat, you couldn't eat blood, and I dare you to find meat today without a trace of blood in it, and the cell walls of all animals are made out of fat. So it's absolutely impossible to follow what God said. So we have to look to God's heavenly will. And that starts us on the right path of interpreting what's being said. Amen?